Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of epic fantasy romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee and gave myself a little foam mustache. Today is Monday, April 21st, 4/21/25. How are you all doing? I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. I did not write all last week, as regular listeners will know. And I'm not going to write all this week either. In fact, I might not write for 2 more weeks. We shall see. I am really, excuse me, I'm wondering if enjoy is the right word. Is enjoy the word I want? I am glad to be getting all of this stuff done that I'm getting done. I have completed all the tax stuff up to this point in time, and there's going to be a cat visitation here, which is problematic because one of the things I'm doing, you can't tell. I think it's funny that you really can't tell if you're on video from your perspective just how completely and entirely disrupted my office is. And here comes the kitty. There's simply no room for him because there is stuff piled on this desk like you would not believe. It's an utter chaos. Actually, you may not have been able to see the cat. I think he went. Oh, there's some ears. Uh, he went under the camera, like this huge pile of stuff that's immediately under my camera view and around the room. And I considered panning for you all, but nobody needs to see this. So, yes, the closet of doom is in the process of being excavated. I did complete a couple of things. I have this secretary, this antique secretary desk that I really love, and it had become, as these things do, right, the repository for junk, for things being shoved in there, and I could never find what I needed. And I got that purged and organized, only now it doesn't look so nice because I've got it open and I've got things piled on there as I go through this whole excavation of the closet of doom. And I purged my files too. I have a little 2-drawer file cabinet, and I got that totally purged. So now he wants out. So it's been a huge project, and unlike my previous reorganizations of this closet, I am now he wants back in. We're going to ignore him. Uh, I'm really making some massive changes. I have been saving all of this stuff. I realized I've been making myself pull everything out, and I don't love that whole does it bring you joy or not, because do any inanimate objects actually bring me joy? The Marie Kondo thing. Um, but it's like, why am I keeping this? So I'm sending a lot of stuff to my archivist, Jeremy Brett. Shout out to you at Texas A&M. He keeps my collection, and we actually had a very funny exchange that I should share with you. Okay, so in the midst of my purging crisis yesterday, during which I was messaging some of my friends who are better at purging than I am and asking for advice, one of whom was on a plane from London, so I'm not sure she was actually disposed towards giving me advice, but hey, you pay a price being my friend. So I sent Jeremy this message. I said, I'm purging my business closet and I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff. Feel free to recycle anything that doesn't seem meaningful. And he sent me heart eyes emoji. And I said, this is the correct response. And he said, well, you sold it so well. And I had to laugh. And I said, well, I'm in the right mood for purging. I'm asking myself, why am I keeping all of this crap? And he said, those are the moods that keep me employed. I love that. So So it's interesting. I knew this was going to be a big project. I've been talking about wanting to get to it. And so this is what I was starting to say, that I had been saving all of this stuff, like little tchotchkes for like giveaway baskets and stuff. In fact, one thing that I'm saving, and I can show you, or I had been saving, is this basket. And for those not on video, it's like a bicycle basket with handles on either end, and it's got a little cardboard stand inside and a little cardboard. It's actually from a wine country gift basket. So people who actually make gift baskets or biff gaskets will recognize this sort of setup. It's not that complicated, but it's actually super useful if you're doing a gift basket for like a book giveaway at some event, because this is not the sort of thing I typically have around the house. The problem is I almost never do that kind of thing anymore. In fact, all of this stuff that I carefully saved away, like little toy fairies and this kind of thing, beads and yeah, shiny shit. I haven't done anything like that really since pre-pandemic. And I don't know why. Are we like not doing, is it related to the collapse of RWA because it was really romance events that did that sort of thing? Am I not doing that sort of thing? Um, it's a good question, but I realized that the Closet of Doom, which I loathe, obviously, is not set up to be useful to me. It's not set up to be doing the things that I need it to do on a daily basis. And I feel like I don't know what Marie Kondo would say. I don't know the KonMari cleanup method. But the Jeffe cleanup method, this epiphany that I've come to, which is probably not a meaningful epiphany for most people, but is why do I have these things that are not useful to me? Why is my life, my office, my actual office, the beating heart of my career, why is it not set up to do the things I need it to do? For instance, bookmarks. I want to be able to access bookmarks easily. So when I mail stuff out, I can grab bookmarks, right? Instead, I have bookmarks in this big bag, and it's a horrible system. So, as I am pulling things out and getting rid of books that I never access, I'm starting to think that this is going to end up being a complete office purge, and maybe I will go ahead and paint my office while I'm at it. And I have all of these stacks of books. This one, like if you watch this podcast regularly, you probably wonder about this stack, my TBR paper books that never moves, right? If I were you, if I were a faithful watcher, I would be like placing bets on when are any of those books going to move. I also have stacks of my own books all around the office. And there's a bookshelf in the Closet of Doom that's containing all sorts of things that are not useful, like old mailing envelopes that I always think I'm going to repurpose and never do. So I'm going to put books on the bookcase, and I think I'm going to paint the closet, and then I may expand it outward and paint the rest of the office. And I also need to do stuff in the garden. I'm going to try to do a balance of these things, but I'm just getting rid of things that are not serving this purpose. Like I'm torn. I'm torn on the gift basket thing because it really is a great gift basket thing. The other thing I need to do is completely overhaul the garage, which I keep talking about. I know. And I would like to create space in the garage for some of these things that I don't access regularly. But, like having that gift basket formed the next time somebody asks me to bring a gift basket to something, which I don't know. Purgers, give me advice. I haven't been asked to do a gift basket in a really long time. should I just get rid of the thing? Maybe I should just get rid of the thing. I do have a big box full of stuff to go to Savers, and big pile of stuff to ship off to Jeremy. And yeah, I think that this is going to be really good in the end. And we need a word. There's probably Marie Kondo has a word for this. It's the enjoyment of getting the job done. It actually sucks doing it, and I got really tired yesterday, but it's also the enjoyment of, I don't know, of purging. This house is clean. Uh, I wish I had another room for a sewing room. I just built a whole casita and I just still don't have a place to put all my sewing stuff, which I almost never do. Also, when we moved to Santa Fe, lo these 16 years ago, almost 16, uh, I got rid of my standing sewing machine table, which had been my grandmother's. I really liked that. But I knew we were moving to a smaller house, and all of my fabric, I had so much fabric. And I mean, it's a plague in my family. My aunt, my mom's older sister, actually had a shed, an entire shed installed in her backyard in which to store her fabric. Um, I don't know why that's in our genes, but it is. So I've got my half completed sewing projects, and who knows if I'll ever do them. So this is like the whole process. And my friend, it was Megan, who was on the flight from London and is a very good purger. I sent her a photo of the chaos of my office and everything that was pulled out. And she said she zoomed in and she could understand why it was confusing for me to make decisions about this stuff. So that actually made me feel better. Uh, yeah. So the accumulation of tchotchkes. I wonder if the transcript will get that right the first time. And yeah, making this all serve what I need it to do for me. It's yeah, there we are. I had other things to talk about. Uh, so the video was frozen there a moment. Sorry if that was like a pregnant pause. Uh, Other things I wanted to talk about that are actually relevant. Uh, a neater segue is, oh, I was saying that I might not write for the next couple of weeks. And that is because I'm not going to write all this week. And then a week from Friday, on May 2nd, I am going to Canada for the Love and Romance in Toronto signing and to spend a few days with my friends Kelly and Alex, Kelly Robson and Alex Delamonica. And then I am going to spend a couple of days on the way back in Chicago with my friends Susan Lee and Marianne Maharaj, which is technically a writing retreat. Now, I never get anything done on writing retreats, so I'm not particularly worried about this, but we'll see if I'm actually writing by then. But it's freeing not to be thinking about writing. And I realized, I know that I've been saying for regular listeners that I've been saying for the first time in living memory, for lack of anything better to say, but I think it's been something like 16 years because when we moved to Santa Fe was when I got super serious about my writing career and actually getting something done, something written. And I'd been shopping that book that became Rogue's Pawn for a while. And that was when I really buckled down and got myself on a schedule. I'm kind of curious to see, and I'm not going to pause because it's being weird when I pause. Um, if it's on my progress count list here, when I don't think that I started keeping track right at the beginning. No, I didn't. I really didn't start keeping really good track until like 2013, which is 12 years. But I wrote Mark of the Tala. I wrote that 12 Kingdoms trilogy all in there. That was when I really buckled down and made sure to start producing on a schedule, and, you know, got downsized from my day job. And so I got serious about trying to, you know, make a living doing this, which I felt like was producing books at a regular rate, which worked. I mean, it totally worked. But uh, this is the first time in, I'm going to say, almost 16 years. Well, it's probably more like 15 and a half, because there was the whole moving thing. We moved here in August, and I was still doing a lot of heavy, heavy day job work and getting settled into the house, which is why some of it's in chaos. I mean, if I'd done some of it right, then, well, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, uh, yeah. So this first time I have not had that queued up list of projects, and it's good. I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to try to get as much done as I can. I have a feeling by the time I hit that 2-day writing retreat, 3-day writing retreat, and um, well, I'll be getting edits back, so that will present itself. But I'll probably start getting the itch to write. I always do. The other thing I wanted to mention was, one of you commented on an older podcast where I was talking about movie adaptations on from books, and I was talking about how the author had to let it go. And one of you made a really excellent comment. This was from a podcast like back in February, but I appreciated the thought. I always love your comments. I just have to say, you guys, you all tag me all over the place, and yeah, I always love it. Uh, so I'm guessing they said that they never like it when they don't like how the adaptation of the book went, which, let's face it, there's a reason why there's a t-shirt that says the book is better, because the book is inevitably, that's not even a word. This is what I get for not writing. Inevitably better. There, for a lot of reasons, and not just because we're readers. Uh, you can just put more in a book. Speaking of, and this is a tangent, but I promise to come back. I watched Heartburn over the weekend with Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson. Somehow I had never watched it. And I was telling Megan, not only complaining to her about my purging decisions, but telling her how much I enjoyed that movie. And I just think Nora Ephron is such a terrific writer. And she said, you should read the book. And I, to my chagrin, did not realize that there was a book. So I've been reading that book. And I think Nora Ephron I'm even more in love with her writing. She's just amazing and wonderful. So I'm enjoying that book. But that's a good example of, she did the screenplay. She did the adaptation of the book to the movie. The book is way better. There's just so much more nuance and internal monologue that even the amazingly talented Meryl Streep doesn't quite get across. But at any rate, I did answer on the comment, but I wanted to address it here, is like, yes, you are absolutely entitled as a reader and as a watcher of the show to not like the interpretation. And very often I don't either. And I mean, that's an entirely different thing. It's one thing as a creator to let go of the project and resign yourself to the fact that it's not going to be the same as the book you wrote. But as a lover of the work, oh yeah, you get to condemn their interpretation. You feel free, go out there and say and feel your feels, because yeah, that's a different thing entirely. All right. Um, I am going to get to work on this massive mess. I hope you all have a great week, and I will report back on my progress on Friday. You all take care. Bye bye.